That being said, though, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, they are going to make the trip slightly northeastern. If I have my geography right, they are going to one of the smallest stadiums in the entirety of the FBS, where it is home to the Kennesaw State Owls. Kennesaw State looking like a solid team, definitely an improved squad in what could be a very pivotal early CUSA battle. Currently slated to happen at 7 p.m. Eastern over on ESPNU. Louisiana Tech, man, this is going to be a really fun one. We have seen the Kennesaw State offense improve slightly ever since the Indiana game and the Wake Forest matchup as well. But Louisiana Tech, not a lot of talk about the Bulldogs, but that Louisiana Tech team silently one of the best defenses in the entire country. Purely from at least from a statistical standpoint. You could argue talent in schematics all you want, but statistically, this Louisiana Tech team is getting it done on the defensive side of the ball. They are allowing barely over 13.5 points per game, which, with the exception of the LSU matchup, that is going to win you a lot of football games. And the offense is really starting to come along as well. We saw the other week where Louisiana Tech, they're able to come out. They're able to put up a 30 spot on UTEP. It's not a super explosive offense that Louisiana Tech has over there, but it's starting to play a little bit more complementary football. That's really what you expect from the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, right? Where you're going to see a really strong defense, as well as an offense that's typically going to do enough to make sure that they win games and have that offensive balance. The quarterback play is starting to improve, and then the ground game is also starting to come along for Louisiana Tech. That's going to help them control tempo, and that's been the case outside of the LSU game that we've seen so far. But that being said, that does not mean that you should be sleeping on this Kennesaw State team whatsoever. Jerry Mack has done a tremendous job. Not, and one thing that wasn't talked about was the returning production, because of the fact that if you're returning the majority of your starters from, a 2-10 and a 3-9 team and in a G5, is that returning production really valuable? But Jerry Mack has taken really fundamentally the same roster from last year and really has done a good job of maximizing the talent that's on this list. Perfect example being really competitive for Wake Forest and almost pulling that upset off way back in week number 1. And even outside of the Indiana game, where obviously Indiana looks like a supernova, that's a top 5 team in the nation in my opinion. Outside of being blown out by those guys, Kennesaw State has really shown a ton of grit. They've won all of their G5 games so far. Their FC, I believe they had an FCS matchup as well. But yeah, huge shout out to Jerry Mack, really showing that competitive grit. They're gonna have that's gonna be like a home stadium that could be rocking a little bit. And it's particularly a team as well there. You are starting to see like improvements in the run game and in the secondary too. Like those DBs for Kennesaw State, they can certainly make some plays happen. So really expect this to be really a strategic and grinding affair where possessions really are amplified and really scrutinized over the course of this matchup. Obviously, as I mentioned, Tech's going to be looking to lean on its defense, sustain those long drives, not only keep Kennesaw State's offense off the field, but at the same time, grind down their defense as well. Play that complementary football, as I talked about earlier in this preview. Now, for Kennesaw State, I think the biggest key for them, really striking early, getting those explosive drives, and really forcing Tech, I guess, on the back foot, right? Whenever they're playing complementary football on the offensive side of the ball. That's what Louisiana Tech wants to do. But if you can make it to where maybe it's a little bit more of a shootout. And that's the thing, too, with Louisiana Tech. We've seen Tech, when they have a brand of football that they know what they want to do, and they know how to win with it. But one thing that we haven't seen Louisiana Tech do yet is win in a shootout. If Kennesaw State can find explosives and find a way to exploit this Louisiana Tech defense that really no other team has been able to do yet this year. If Kennesaw State can do that, can you make Louisiana uncomfortable from that perspective? Maybe throw them off balance from an offensive perspective. Maybe even mess around, win that line of scrimmage. Mix up that tempo to really disrupt how they really want to handle things from an offensive side of things. I think that's something that I think obviously a fast start is going to really help Kennesaw State if they're going to pull this upset off in their home building. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and check out the model. I'm recording this on the night of October 5th, so obviously the lines could change by then, by the time this video is officially up on YouTube, but here's what I'm seeing right now. So, FanDuel right now has Louisiana Tech as about a touchdown favorite. However, my internal metrics here at College Football Red Zone actually has Louisiana Tech given them much more love. The Bulldogs are a 2-touchdown favorite, a -16 for Louisiana Tech over Kennesaw State, in spite of the fact that this game is on the road for the Bulldogs. So this is what I'm seeing from my side of things, right? So even with this game happening at home, and I do want to mention once again that Kennesaw State, there is a clear improvement in every aspect of the operation. Offense, defense, special teams, it's all improved from last year. Do I think that this is a program that is capable of beating the top teams in the CUSA and competing with those top programs? Because I'm gonna tell you what, right now, Louisiana Tech I haven't seen a lot of talk on the national stage about them, even for G5 centric shows, but Louisiana Tech, man, they definitely deserve some love for sure. So with that being said, I think with Louisiana Tech being a clear favorite, and I love what they've been able to do over the course of the year, I just think at the end of the day, this is the type of game where it's not really a great matchup for Kennesaw State, with just how suffocating the Bulldogs have been defensively. So I do think this is going to be a competitive battle, because we have seen Jerry Mack, find a way to maximize the talent on his roster. And with it being in home too, there's going to be a 4-quarter fight. Don't get it twisted, but I still like the spot for Louisiana Tech. I think they match up pretty well against this Kennesaw State Owl squad. And with all that said, I will say that not only do I think the Bulldogs will win, I think there's a slight lean as well for them to cover as well. So, gonna roll with Louisiana Tech winning 27-20, get them to 5-1, and that's also gonna put the Bulldogs on the verge of bowl eligibility if that win could potentially happen.